I have a parasocial relationship with the Anituber Digibro. So before anything else, I want to talk about how I dress this person that I will mention a lot in this video. She goes by Trixie or Beatrice with she and her pronouns nowadays, but I knew her as Digibro with he, him pronouns, and that is my preferred alias for this person because I knew her as Digibro for a much longer length of time. But in this video, I use Digibro and Trixie interchangeably. After this video, I will use she, her pronouns and Trixie or Beatrice because I want to respect her. I just want everyone up to speed. Okay, thanks. Enjoy the video. If you want to know me, you gotta know that she was one of my biggest sources of inspiration and a genuine idol that actually changed my life back in the pandemic era when I found out about her content. And one of her inventions, I suppose, that should have been a really big contribution to, I don't know, humanity in general is her neurotyping chart right before she transitioned. And it has just consumed my life ever since I heard about it. Ever since I was young, I always loved personality systems, used to be really big into astrology, which is super cringe, and then MBTI and Carl Jung stuff, and then the Homestuck, anywho. But then I heard about this new thing that actually categorizes how people think, and I thought, hell yeah, I'm getting into this. So what is Digibro's, I don't know, or Beatrice's neurotyping chart? It has 16 categories where you put yourself on a axis or a Cartesian coordinate system where the X value, left and right, is lexicality and impressionism, which I'll explain those, and the y-axis are vertically, which is linearity on the bottom and lateral thinking on the top. Let's start with linear thinking. That's straightforward, one train of thought. Lateral is multiple trains of thought, very all over the place. You can jump between thoughts very quickly, and it's quite haphazard compared to linear thinking. You can juggle a lot of things in your mind at once, basically. And then it goes to lexicality, which is your tendency to codify ideas into language. They are very dependent on words, and if you can't put an idea into words, lexical thinkers wouldn't easily be able to understand them. And there's the opposite, which is impressionistic thinking. They live off of impressions, and they can understand things without words, but they have a hard time explaining them because they aren't very dependent on language. You can find a better explanation on the video How Anime Characters Think that is actually on her channel. But anywho, if you just wanted a recap or explanation, there you go. You can put yourself on this chart that I'm going to show on screen right now in one of these 16 boxes, I suppose. And you can just put yourself on the chart. You don't need a quiz. So first, I wanted to ask myself about a couple of questions and just want to answer them in this video. Here's the first. I answered the first question. What is Digibro's neurotyping chart, which I just explained? And second, why isn't it treated as like this visionary product that all of humanity can think about, change, like actually be, and actually take down the MBTI system or whatever. I mean, those are pretty grand ideals, but I guess in an ideal world for me, this system would be slightly more practiced or in use. Because I think it's cool, and it genuinely is a very interesting way to look at people and categorizing them. And I mean, I'm no expert, but again, as a youngin', I really loved personality systems and such. First of all, Beatrice, she's awful at marketing. She made like one video about it. Well, she made multiple videos, but only the one that she didn't do much to market it, basically. And second, it's not like that well researched. I can't say for sure because she did say she got into some academic papers and did some reading, but it's still a bit unclear. I've definitely heard like some people just completely flat out not even want to acknowledge the existence of this personality system without some research. And I mean, I get where they're coming from. I get that she isn't some psychologist. She's just someone who hangs out in their room all day watching anime. I get that. But I think that's like ad hominem. I think she doesn't have to prove this system herself. Like, I feel like part of the burden of research should go to the people that are interested in it. Part of it. I think she's just presenting the idea, and then you can take what you want out of it. And I took like so much out of it. The third thing, why it's not like widely known or well respected or whatever, is that it doesn't have one main point about it. It's like a tool, it's a personality system. And a lot of people are like, a lot of people are like theorizing about it with no real end goal, I guess. But all of those ideas have been sourced from the existence of this neurotyping personality system. There's a YouTube channel that like does a couple of podcasts about ideas presented from the subreddit that also exists. And there's a couple of new concepts that have sprouted from this, like the grid system that I saw from, I think, a guy named the Roman Romantic. Maybe I'll link to his channel because I don't remember the exact name. His idea was like how thoughts jump from the origin to another thought, and that's why lateral thinkers can jump from thought to thought, first of all quicker and easier, but linear thinkers can't do that as easily or as quickly, and also their range of thoughts at a time is not as big as lateral thinkers. Anywho, there's a lot of interesting stuff, but my main point is that it's hard to really, like, it's a really good thought It makes you think, is my main point, but it doesn't have a single idea that could easily be shared around, I guess. It's just this neurotyping chart exists and we can think about it, but I don't know if it's really gonna reach anywhere. Or like, unless we really want to compare between other personality systems and like prove which one's the best or whatever. But I haven't seen any of that kind of debate going around. Anywho, I don't think anyone's interested. But the next question is why I designated myself on one certain type of personality, which is an aesthetician. Now, I've had a really hard time choosing exactly which square that I belong on. There's a quiz online. I got overseer, but that quiz sucks because I gave it to a couple of people and they all got the exact same answer. But I did kind of think that I was somewhere around in that quadrant. But I don't really see myself. I don't want to go full, I don't know, autist, I guess, and be a new type. And I don't think I'm as suave or as cool as a fascinator. So I chose to. So I think I belong more on the aesthetician side because I do believe that I'm more impressionistic, that I am a lateral thinker. There are, sometimes some people talk, just I get into conversations with friends and I can't tell if I couldn't understand them or follow their train of thought because I'm too impressionistic and they're using lexical words that I don't understand, or like they think too lexically, or they are a bit too lateral for me, and they can make these points of connection between two thoughts easier than I could. So that's why I don't think I'm a full new type. In fact, I've also been thinking that I might just be an impressionist. I'm kind of jumping between those two. And I've like thought about like this neurotyping chart has been out for like 3 years as of now. And I'm still having a hard time choosing which one I am in. I've honed it in between those two. It's also just kind of proof because people who are generally impressionistic don't know how to like categorize themselves on this chart very easily. But when you're lexical, you can immediately just be like, yeah, I am that. Duh, obviously. Anywho, that gets into my other point of why I love this chart so much and why I connect to it, and why I still think about it 3 years later. Sorry for the background noise. I cannot choose where I can record. It's just always going to be noisy. Anywho, part of the reason why is because I'm an impressionistic or like lateral thinker. I'm also just kind of like regurgitating what others have already said. Again, a lot of people have explored into the neurotyping chart much more deeper than I have. But anywho, like the reason why generally lateral impressionistic thinkers kind of connect to it so much in general is because it's a tool that they can use. It's like proof why they aren't so easily understood by other people. Because impressionistic thinkers don't think with words or language, but ultimately they have to communicate with words and language. That's the only way we can explain things besides like, I don't know, art. You've also seen, like, or at least I've seen, like, a lot of lexical thinkers. Like my friends, for example, they look at the chart and they're like, this is a cool idea, but, like, who cares about it? And that's because they don't understand how an impressionistic thinker works. They can only think in the terms that a lexical thinker would. They don't, like, know the extent of thought that is possible. Like, a lateral impressionistic thinker can understand that linear and lexical thinking exists, but I don't think a linear lexical thinker can really understand how an impressionistic or lateral thinker thinks, except for the fact that they just can't understand them. A neurotyping chart is basically another excuse as to why I can't explain myself to others. When I was young, I always thought of, like, the characteristics of people are what makes the world go round, I guess. Like, it's really important that I understand people through these limited systems where I can just categorize them, because it, like, really is able to simplify what other people are to me. Like, the idea of a person having a certain attitude and having an attitude and a personality and characteristics that are all their own was kind of daunting to me, I guess. I wouldn't know how to interact with that, so I relied on personality systems to make it easier. So I'd know how to interact with them, I guess. But then it just kind of evolved into focusing purely on being invested into the personality systems themselves, because they're just interesting and worth investing into. They really aren't, unless you're a psychologist, I guess. Like, I still find it fun to just go into a show, bring out the neurotyping chart, and put all of the characters into this and categorize all of them. It probably has, like, the same appeal as, like, a tier list. And that's probably why the neurotyping chart will always stay in the back of my mind, because to me, it's, like, one of the most... it's both a simplistic idea, but you could use it in very broad situations. Like, I can easily understand the neurotyping chart much easier than the MBTI thing. Anywho, I wish more interesting personality systems like this existed, instead of just, like, picking out a bunch of characteristics that people could have and then just putting them into boxes. Like the MBTI just has a couple of characteristics, and then you mix and match and then put them into one person. But for this one, it's only two spectrums. And you can easily assign yourself into one of them. The Homestuck one is also very cool, but those are really the only three ones that really the only two, actually, that I think are very interesting, and I wish more like those existed. The Homestuck and the neurotyping chart. One more thing, I do have two things I want to ask. Two things that I just want to point out about the neurotyping chart. One of them is, it's hard to get a grasp on how impressionistic or lateral you are, because I feel like if you put yourself in the new type category, it's possible that there are even more people that are more lateral and impressionistic than you are. Like, you can't easily say you're in the top, like, 1% or something. That's one of the reasons why I had a hard time classifying myself, because I just didn't know the limits, and it's hard to get a feeling of what is like the most impressionistic or the most lateral thinker. The second thing is, I wonder why she chose the two axes, lexicality and impressionism, and linearity and lateral thinking. Like, those two spectrums can't be the only way you can measure a person's range of thoughts or how they use language or how they think. There's got to be more. Maybe that's a new idea for a new personality system. And if I only had like one question to ask her, that would be it. Why did she choose those two things? And besides those things I wanted to point out, I guess I'm done. I'm still gonna be thinking about the neurotyping chart probably until I die, because it's just so fun to categorize people onto the chart and see what their personality is like. It's quite easy to assign someone onto this chart instead of, say, other charts, or maybe I just don't understand them well enough, but this one's very easy to get. Anywho, wish more personality systems like this existed, and that's it for this video. Consume everything, and goodbye.